Hi, I want to tell you today, or talk to you today, no, I don't tell you anything, talk to you today about our first trip out. What an adventure. I want to like roll my eyes 5 times while I say that. I thought to myself, okay, so we have a urology appointment. How am I going to manage this? We have a car, and he has a wheelchair, and we need to get him in the car, and that's not an easy task because the difference between the wheelchair and the car chair is like this. It's probably 8 inches, maybe more. And he was newly released from the rehab. So medically, he wasn't very healthy and beefy and all that. But anyway, so I thought, how can I help this be, or help make this be easier? And I got on Google Earth. That was the first thing I thought of. I have to look for a spot at the urology location, doctors, and find something that has a height discrepancy so he can put his wheelchair higher so that it's more of a level transfer. It's all about the transfers, right? So I get on Google Earth, and I'm even thinking, okay, it's a little highway out front, but I have no problem putting out cones. I'll buy some cones and have him transfer. Like I was thinking of everything. I'm looking, like zooming in on Google Earth at his parking lot and the next door business parking lot. Man, and I'm like, you know what? This looks kind of okay. Let's just go. So we got there, and my worst fears were realized that there really was no place in the parking lot, around, anywhere near. It was, in fact, a highway out front. There was not going to be any cones in the road because it was a little curb. We were just going to have to do it. We were going to have to pony up and do it. So we went in, we had the appointment, nice guy, nice urologist. Came out, and I try not to think about it. We get to the car, I open the door and think, crap, here we go. I didn't want to say anything to him though. And got my slide board and doing the pep talk, and we're just chatting, and he's sitting in the chair, and I'm looking and I'm thinking, that is like freaking Mount Everest. And he had no upper body strength. He could move, but he had been in the hospital so long that he lost all his upper body strength. So I said, well, hey, we got to do it. Let's go. So gate belt, we at that point really weren't using a gate belt, but the gate belt went on. I got in the driver's seat so I could reach over and reef him into the car, and he could scramble and do whatever he could do to help the whole process along. So I had never done that before. And this is a tip of the day, I guess, that when you put a gate belt on someone and they're coming uphill and you're pulling, guess where that gate belt's going to end? Up in his armpits. So that is going to do 0. What I have found, and it's probably outside of the camera view, but you need to put it below your hips, around your upper thighs. If you want to drag someone up a slide board, that was the ultimate ending to the story, but we didn't know that for weeks after that. But anyway, so the gate belt's on, and bam, well, almost bam. He's really close to the ground, to the pavement. It wasn't even just in the car. That would have been bad, but not as bad as him hitting the pavement. He had shorts on. I didn't want any major cuts. I don't want any broken bones. I don't want any pressure sores. Holy crap, what do I do? And I'm thinking all that in the 1.2 milliseconds it took me to get around the car. And I looked at him, I said, just tell me what you want me to do, in my panic, my furiously huge panic. And he looked up at me with a very calm face, because I'm the panicker, he's the, I don't know, whatever, keeps his cool. And he said, honey, don't worry about it. I can stay here all day. I just looked at him and burst out laughing, and he burst out laughing, and we laughed, and we enjoyed the 5 seconds of that, and then I called the fire department. The fire department came down, and I couldn't believe it when they got here. I mean, it didn't take them that long, because he's gripping to stay not on the pavement, and I'm trying to hold him up, and it's a hot day, so he's going to get burnt. It was just, ugh. So then I see them, you know, they were not like sauntering over. They got out, they had all their gear, they came running over, and they were wonderful. They were wonderful. I can't thank them enough. They got him in the car, and he didn't, there was no blood, there was no broken bones, he didn't hit the pavement, he didn't burn himself, and he's in the car. I thanked them a million times over, and off they went. And I have to tell you, kindness, I'll say that again, kindness does not translate to skill. It just doesn't. So they got him in the car, and he couldn't get out of bed for a few days. And I just, it just is a rolling ball here of tips I can give you about that. I said a couple of times, "Ooh, I don't think I do that. Ooh, I don't know if I do that." And I just let it happen. I didn't shut it down. And shame on me. He could have ended up really hurt. I mean, he wasn't that long out of surgery. How long does it take for those plates and screws and all that, rods? So I should have spoken up, and I didn't. So I had to give myself grace to, and I thought that was a real goofy term the first time I heard it, but it really is just allowing yourself to make a mistake and not beating yourself up for it. Just give yourself some space to know you're going to make mistakes, and you're going to try your hardest to do better next time. So I had to do that, and I learned. From then on, I needed a new strategy, because doing that slide board was not going to work. So what we did was I got busy, buying stuff. All these I call them all gizmos. They're all gizmos, and I'm on the computer looking for a better type of slide board, and I found one. It's a little curvy thing. I don't know, $15 or something. The rehab that he was in, I brought it in. I showed it to them, and that he had been in before, and they went out and bought them. They just loved them, but it wasn't long enough. When you have a discrepancy of that far, that uses up a lot of your slide board, your sliding time, and it ended up to be a pokey into the cushion, and then you're trying to just get up on it. So we carved out our own, a longer with a big arc slide board. Then I thought, you know what? If I had had a Hoyer sling, I think that's what they call them. I don't even know if that's what it is, but it's something that one of the rehabs gave to me and said, look, this was in your room, and we can't reuse these things, so take it home. And it's this, I don't know, maybe 4 feet by 5 feet, a little slippery stuff, but it's got handles, really beefy handles all around it. There's more, 4, maybe 5, maybe 6 around it, and I thought, if we had had that, and I had that in the house, but never thought to put it in the car. If we had had that, I would have run to the trunk and got it under him. And then 2 people could have been in the car, one in the back seat, so we could have figured it out. We could have plopped him in, rather than what ended up happening. So I needed a new strategy of how this was going to happen, and I needed gizmos. I needed stuff in the trunk that I could pick through. Whether it was a piece of slippery stuff just for the slide board to really rip them in there quickly, rather than just in. I had that gizmo thing. I don't know. There's something else I have. Oh, I have thick blankets, so that if maybe next time we can put it, because I had actually tried putting another cushion, wheelchair cushion, to raise him up, because I had a spare cushion. I travel, well, he sits on one of those not alternating, but air pressure cushions. So I had a spare, because I thought when we went out the first time in somebody else's handicap van, that I needed a spare cushion, because if he gets a hole in it, he can't sit on that metal plate all day. So I had an extra cushion. We even tried that. That wasn't high enough. So anyway, you need a new strategy. You need a plan. You need to carry in your car. It used to be, oh, let's go for a ride in the car, and you grab your pocketbook or your wallet or your credit card, and you head out the door and the keys. Now it's a backpack. Because my backpack, I was a boater for years, and we had ditch bags. Well, now I call it a ditch bag in our vehicles, because you have to have a slide board. I want to have one of those Hoyer things. I want to have extra catheters, baby wipes, all this stuff. So make a plan, and maybe it's not going to be a good enough plan, but it'll be a better plan next time. Because try to think about how could I have helped or bought stuff to make that better. So anyway, thank you so much for sticking with me and talking about this. If you have any suggestions, please drop them in the comments. And I just want to thank you. I'm Tina from Real Life SCI, and I want to share what I have learned so that I can save you time, which time is important. I can save you money. Money is really important. It's almost more important than time now because everything is so expensive. But I really want to save you worry. My father used to call me a worrywart, and I am, and he was too, so he recognized it in me. And it wears you down. And if I can give you some tips and some MacGyvering and some information to save you time, money, and worry, I've done what I set out for. That's what I want this channel to be all about. So thank you. I'll see you next time, and thank you for watching.